It's Thursday, April 5th, 2018. And it's time for Nostalgia Trippin'. Why do I do a show called Nostalgia Trippin'? Because I'm old and I might forget. So I need to remember, put it on video, and then I can sit there and go, oh, I don't remember that. But I'm on video saying that I did it. Maybe I should do one of these where I say that I was like a rock star or something, but then I won't be able to find my wiki page. Because maybe I don't know, but maybe I'll forget that there's a thing called a wiki page and I'll still believe that I was a rock star. It's like, it's got to be true. I said it to myself. Or I could say I was a movie star or something more realistic like a voice actor. Because then it's like, then when I go to look myself up or something, it's like, there's not a lot of information on voice actors. So I'd be okay. Because I could just say, maybe I went by a different name. Why didn't I tell myself my Hollywood name in the video? So stupid. But we're going to talk about this machine right here. Boom. PlayStation, the original PlayStation. That's right, this thing. Watch this. Bing. Oh, that's technology at its finest right there. So obviously, Sony PlayStation came out a long time ago. I think 95, I think is when it came out. Sold millions and millions of units. It was a very, very popular machine. I remember when the machine was coming out, the Saturn and the PlayStation. I was working at a retail company, and upstairs they had two displays, one for the PlayStation and one for the Saturn. Now, I was a Sega guy at the time because I had my Genesis. I love my Genesis. So I'm going, which one should I buy? I'm a Sega guy. I want that Saturn. And I watched the video on the Saturn. They had a demo disc in there, and they were showing like a new Sonic game, and I think Knights and some other stuff. I don't remember. It was underwhelming to say the least. So I went over and I looked at the PlayStation demo CD. They had things like Battle Arena Toshinden, Jumpin' Jack Flash. Or no, Jumping Flash. Jumping Jack Flash was a song in a movie. But they had Jumping Flash and Battle Arena Toshinden, and I think Ridge Racer and a couple others. Not terribly impressive, although Ridge Racer was the first game I bought for my PlayStation. But the two games that brought me in immediately, the first one was Destruction Derby. When I saw those cars running around the track, banging into each other and crumpling, I thought, I gotta have that game. But was it enough to sway me away from Sega? You know, I played Sega for the last 5 or 6 years. Is it enough to sway me away from Sega? So I'm watching a little bit more. Then all of a sudden, Twisted Metal came on. That was the game changer. As soon as I saw Twisted Metal, Destruction Derby was on there, I knew I was buying a PlayStation. I think they were both going to be about $300 at launch, the PlayStation and the Saturn. But Twisted Metal was the game that basically told me I have to have that system. I have to have a PlayStation because I have to play Twisted Metal. So when it came out, I bought my PlayStation. Well, I didn't have access. I didn't subscribe to video game magazines at the time. The internet wasn't a big thing. So I didn't have access to a lot of information. I thought that the games they showed on the demo disc were the games that were going to be out at launch. Oh, know how wrong I was. Because the only games that were out at launch, I think Jumpin' Flash was out at launch, I think Ridge Racer was out at launch, and there was a few others. So, excuse me. So I basically decided it's like, I'll get Ridge Racer, and I can't remember. I think I might have gotten something else. I can't remember if I got anything else or not. I think because Ridge Racer was the game that really held my attention the whole time, because it's like I needed something until I got Twisted Metal and Destruction Derby. So I played my Ridge Racer until I think Destruction Derby was the next one to come out. Destruction Derby was underwhelming. I was really not happy with that game. I did not get anywhere near the fun out of that game that I thought I was going to get. So ultimately a little disappointed. But I was buying some sports titles that held me over on the PlayStation, and I was I was fine. I liked my PlayStation. I was having a good time. Then Twisted Metal came out, and I loved the system. PlayStation is still one of my favorite systems of all time. But the real memories that came from this is when me and my buddy Doug moved into a little apartment as roommates, and we used to play PlayStation against each other. Now, I am not one of these people that likes to play against people because I am a terrible gamer and I lose a lot. But we would play Madden against each other, and we were a pretty even match in Madden. We would go back and forth. Well, we both prided ourselves on high-powered offenses. We'd throw the ball down the field, we'd score in, drives that were, 2 plays in 35 seconds. And I mean, we tried to run up the score on each other, and we always had pretty high-scoring games. Well, there was one time I wanted to just win. So instead of doing my normal thing, I think there was an entire quarter left. And we only played 5-minute quarters. That's all we played. But there was an entire quarter left. Now, we could get 6 or 7 drives into a 5-minute quarter. Not each, but, 6 or 7 drives total. I decided, since I was in the lead going into the fourth quarter, I was just going to run the ball and run time off the clock. My buddy is over there off to my left. He's screaming at me, throw the ball, snap the ball, quit letting time run off the clock. It's like, well, call timeout. And so, he burned through his 3 timeouts, and then, of course, I got the first down. So I'm still running the ball. Time is just ticking. He's furious. This is a punk move. This is a bullcrap move. He's like going red in the face. He's so angry. And I'm just sitting there, just still in the lead. I get down there and I let the time run off, and I kick a little field goal just to add 3 more points, and he's furious. He throws the control. Now remember, this is my system. He didn't buy the system. It was my system. Throws the controller on the ground. He's all pissed off, and I'm just laughing the whole time, because you know how you do sometimes. You piss off your friend, and he's over there furious, and all you could do is just laugh because you think it's funny. And I won that game, and I was totally out. But it's like I kept running the ball. He and I were not running people, but I was able to keep push. I think I got to like a 3rd and 8. There was a 3rd and 8 at one point in the drive, and I ran the ball and I got 9 yards of this. So it's like because he's like, oh, you're gonna have to throw now. So of course he blitzed, which means if you can get past that initial wave of people, you'll run right through it, and I got my 9 yards. So we would play those games. There was another game where he was up big on me at halftime, and I'm going, man, I am not doing anything. My defense cannot stop your offense, and my offense can't get going. And in the first, I think he was up 35-10 going into the third quarter. Then all of a sudden, my defense finally came alive, and I ended up getting like 4 turnovers. I intercepted the ball a couple times, recovered 2 fumbles. In fact, one of the interceptions I took all the way back. I ran a kickoff back. I ended up winning that game 38-35. He was so pissed because it's like he had all this, momentum. He was up. And he wasn't playing it safe. He was still doing what he does, throwing the ball. It's not like he was running. He was still throwing the ball. He was still slinging it. And it's just, everything just went wrong. It just all went wrong. I ended up winning the game. I was very happy, which led to a problem. We were in these apartments that had pretty thin walls. And we would yell at each other. Expletives. Loud expletives. Just angry expletives. All the time. So one day we had a little note on our door that said that they wanted to meet with us in the office, the apartment's office. So we go in there to meet with them, and we're going, well, okay, it's like, why are we, meeting with these people in the office? Well, they explained to us that this is a very quiet area, and that our yelling and screaming was disturbing everybody that lived around us. Okay, we're in our mid-20s, I think, at the time, so we probably didn't really totally think about that too much. But they said, your neighbors are afraid. It's like, or they asked us something to the effect, are you guys, friends, or are you, and it's like, yeah, we've been friends for, years now. It's like, we're great friends. And it's like, well, your neighbors think that you're going to kill each other. A couple of them have thought about calling the cops because they think that you guys are going to, start throwing punches and get into a physical fight. And he and I just both started laughing. It's like, no, 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 no. It's nothing like that. It's nothing like, we're just yelling at each other in a video game. We would never get into a fist fight. We're the best of friends. It's like, we'll keep it down in the future. So we ended up keeping it down. We didn't, yell and scream anymore. But we would still have kind of our moments of just, because you can't yell. So that was, I love that game. And I think it was Madden 98 or 99. I think it was 99. And we played it a lot. Then we moved on to the game Driver. Driver is notorious for having a very difficult tutorial. You have to do a bunch of different things in, I think, 90 seconds. You have to do like 10 or 12 different things in 90 seconds. Now, me and my buddy, we loved the game. We thought it was awesome. We never thought the tutorial was tough. In fact, we beat it in our first couple of times. Now, remember, I'm terrible at games. He's not much better. And we both beat the tutorial rather easily. It wasn't super difficult. We just figured out the pattern that we needed to go in. And remember, this is way before, neither one of us had internet access at that time. So you had to figure it out yourself. So we did. We figured it out. We beat the thing. It's like, and then moved on and started playing the game. Never thought much of it. Now, I got bored with the game after a little while because Driver was one of those games you had to obey the traffic laws all the time. If you weren't in chases or the cops would come after you. So I got bored with the game pretty quick. So I wanted it to be more Grand Theft Auto than, Driver. Even though Driver came out first. But I didn't realize that I wanted what Grand Theft Auto offered, of course, until I played Grand Theft Auto 3 on the PlayStation 2. But Driver was an open world game, but you had to obey the traffic laws. And it was just traffic lights, speed limits. It sucked. So I didn't like the game. He finished it. He actually beat the game. And then the last memory I really have of that, not the last memory, I have a lot of memories of that system, but the last one we'll touch on real quick. My first Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy VII. Now, I had played Lunar and Beyond the Beyond, but I wasn't a big RPG fan. Lunar started to make me an RPG fan. Love the Lunar series. Lunar 1, Lunar 2, both great games. Loved them. But Final Fantasy VII was my first Final Fantasy. I didn't play any of the other Final Fantasies leading up until that point. Nothing on the Super NES, nothing on the NES. Didn't play them. Didn't really care to. So, Final Fantasy VII, I saw a commercial for it, and I was blown away by the graphics. Blown away by how that game looked. And I was getting into RPGs, into the PlayStation era, and I said, I've got to get that game. And I ended up beating that game, and I loved it. And I'm going to tell you this right now, when Aerith died, didn't care. I'm sorry, didn't care. Aerith to me was just a healer. I liked Tifa. I thought if anybody Cloud should end up with, it should be Tifa. Even though I was so bad at all the choices on the little, the little Ferris wheel thing, I ended up with Barrett. Because I was making so many bad choices. And you're still single? Shocker. But yeah, my character, it's like Cloud ended up with Barrett. So yeah, I was making a lot of bad decisions in that game. Didn't end up with Aerith, didn't end up with Tifa, ended up with Barrett. He didn't seem very happy that he was up there with me. But I love the game. It's like, and when Aerith died, I didn't care. I was not affected by that as much as, you hear people that say that they were crying when Aerith died. It's like, she was useless in battle to me. I wanted Tifa in there with Barrett and Cloud. That was my team. That was the team I wanted in there. I didn't want Aerith in there. Aerith was too weak. I'm one of those guys, I just want to attack first. The only reason I kind of wanted to keep Aerith was because she was the healer. And then once I made the team strong enough through leveling up, I didn't want her for that either because I was just overpowering. So, with all that being said, to the troops, past, present, and future, thanks for the freedom.